Hey everyone, so today's video is going to be on this new hero that's in limited summons. I didn't make a video earlier on this character because it's actually not the type of character that I like to make videos on, but I will mention her here today for anyone interested in this character. So when I was making my video just about spoilers, about the new patch with Rift of Chaos getting kind of buffed up and Sima being nerfed, this was a hero whose skill kit was kind of released, and she's essentially a twin of Aaron. So Aaron was an Attack on Titan character who had a really cool, unique kind of trait where he had the ability, if he was Ascension 5, to reduce the cooldown of all team member ultimate abilities by a turn. This was really unique. You know, being able to pull everybody in with joint attacks and stuff on his ultimate. All of this stuff is the same with the new character, except the S2 is different, where he gives himself kind of these buffs, where her S2 is like she gets these stacks put on her. These attack up stats. Whenever she's not booked, it's 8%. And whenever it is booked, it goes up to 10%. This caps at 10 stacks. So there is some interesting things here, and I did book this character. But just after playtesting this hero, with her damage and stuff like that, I think she is purely there to be a replacement for Aaron for people who did not do the Attack on Titan collaboration. And maybe for some guild versus environment content, which Aaron is also used in. So she's just a direct replacement for him, and that's it. I will say that most of her value probably comes from pairing with Aaron. And if you see Motorhead's team here in our guild, this is where I think she gets most of her value, and this is in the extension of buffs. So what she does is she replaces, like a Philidia or something like that in a Ignite team. And then Ackerly, because it's not Ignite or whatever, it's just poisons, there's no real extender to that. So if you have Aaron already, her ultimate ability, which we'll go over her kit here in a second, extends the duration of buffs, and Ackerly just stacks up a bunch of poisons, and then Raven does a lot of damage based on the amount of debuffs on a character. So, I mean, you're seeing here just huge damage. And if you see the battle log, just 79 million. I wish you could see the teams that they used here, but you can't. Like, I wanted to see the damage output of the first team. So that's where all of her value comes in. There are some areas of the game, that are really useful and things like that for this character, and we'll talk about them. But if you're familiar with Aaron, this video is going to be pretty boring for you. So, Maeve, new character. We already talked about most of her kit. We'll skim through it. She has this mechanic where she gains a rage each time somebody applies a negative effect on an enemy from your team, and it's capped at 8 rage. And whenever she reaches that 8 rage, so if you put up 8 debuffs, she consumes that rage and launches a bonus attack with her ultimate ability, and that's only once per round. And then if she is Ascend 5, what ends up happening is whenever she does that, she reduces the cooldown of all allies' ultimate abilities by 1 turn. This is really important to specific cheese comps and things like that. It's also really important to the guild boss team that I kind of just showed you with reducing cooldowns of Ackerly on her ultimate ability. And then also you get to loop back around to Aaron's ultimate ability, and it's just an endless cycle. So for this character, I can tell you right now, after booking this character to test her damage, I think the thing that is most valuable to her is the Ascension 5 overbooks. You're going to be using her for her support mechanics more so than damage, at least from what I've seen. This might be different in Guild versus Environment, but we don't have Guild versus Environment right now, so it's kind of hard to dictate if she's going to be better than Aaron or essentially the same thing as Aaron. So that's her trait. Her basic ability is, I think, different than Aaron, where she does random stats down, and I think Aaron gives himself stats up. So she is a debuffer of sorts. I think this is a better basic ability than Aaron's. There can be some utility to her in Rift of Chaos, but it's going to depend on the other members of your squad that you actually have. So her special ability, this one actually really got me excited, but after testing the damage, again, I don't think it's been super impressive. But she deals 120% damage to all enemies, increases the damage by 10% for each negative effect on the target, and applies a corresponding stacks of attack up for 2 turns. Attack is increased by 10% with each stack of attack up. So all that means is how many debuffs that the enemy has on them. Whenever you use this special ability, if he has 10 negative effects on him, she will then get 10 stacks of attack up, increasing her attack by 100%, which is really cool, and it seems like it would be really good, but for some reason, I don't know, I'm just not seeing a whole lot of damage out of her. Maybe because the multiplier is a little too low. Maybe they were a little worried, if the multiplier was too high or something like that. Okay, so her ultimate, again, is like Aaron's. Consumes all rage to deal 130% to all enemies. Each point of rage increases the damage by 10%. Also summons all allies to launch a joint attack on the target with the most negative effects with the basic ability. If Aaron's present, the joint attack is replaced by extending the duration of the target's negative effects. This is what I was talking about in the guild boss. So if Aaron is in your team, she won't actually, summon a joint attack. She'll just consume all rage, damage all enemies, and then extend the negative effects. Again, really strong ultimate ability, but like Aaron, this is just from a support standpoint. I guess the benefit of her over Aaron is you are getting maybe a little more additional output of damage. And I guess that's the main crux. So, these are my stats on her. I have her built in speed just because of... I was trying her in Rift of Chaos, and I'll talk about that a little bit more. I just have her in, random speed and... warrior set. She gets 19 speed, so she's not super fast, but she does get some focus, which is nice, even though I don't have her built that way. Like I said, I do have her fully booked out. She gets crit damage and crit rate, which is good because she's supposed to be a PvE character, which I totally agree. She is not a PvP character, although there are some things that you can do with her, to do some kind of cool things in Arena. But that's her kit. Her Ascension's attack and speed on the A1 and A2, which is pretty nice, but the A5 is really important, to get the ultimate ability cooldown taken care of. Okay, so Rift of Chaos. Now, I do think that she might be viable in a certain team, although I do not have the characters for it. So I was trying something like this. Because I don't have the necessary characters, and this did fail. The reason why I'm bringing in this team is because the boss, at least most people who are familiar with the Earth Titan here, he has this mechanic where, based on the amount of negative effects on him, it reduces his damage by 5% per negative effect. So you want to stack up as many of these as possible. You can do up to 80% reduction. So if you get 10 negative effects on him, it's 50, and then so on and so forth, right? Now, the best way to do that is through Ignite. Ignite is on a couple different characters in the game now, and they just released one not too long ago in, those limited summons, who's actually really great for this comp if you have him, but I don't, obviously, and that's Arlo. So Arlo has this effect He additionally applies an additional stack of Ignite. So as you can see, like this is going to stack up a lot. He also has Ignite in his kit, and then if he's Ascended 5, whenever somebody on your team tries to put an Ignite, it can't be resisted. This is also important for the Earth Titan, because the more debuffs you try and put on the Earth Titan, the more resistance he gets. So Arlo is really important to this kind of comp if you want to use Maeve in Earth Rift. So without him, I don't think it's viable. He just puts up so many different Ignites and different stacks that he's going to be activating Maeve's ability as well. Matson on top of that is a really nice character for some self-sustain, from the damage standpoint. He has Ignite in his kit, and then he also has this Vampiric Touch, which is like a lifesteal type of thing, and then he has Ignite on his basic as well. Andros is another decent one who does counterattacks anytime somebody is, if he's attacked or if somebody else is attacked. So it's, again, he's perfect for this comp just because the Earth Titan loses all of its defense. Whenever he does his attack, and counterattacks deal a lot more damage. That's what most of the comps are nowadays. The comps that I've been using, are like Elise, Rosalie, and then Zitlin. So all of your damage just comes on the counterattacks from Elise and from Rosalie. But if you don't go the counterattack route, that's where you can bring in Maeve with Ignite teams and use Arlo and, someone else, maybe Andros, and then, like Bachelard, to just stack up so much negative effects that the boss's AoE damage just doesn't do a whole lot, and you won't need Jocasta. You'll need to bring in some kind of other healer, whether it's Flarence or something like that, to keep your team healthy, but you shouldn't be taking as much damage from the negative effects. Now, I will, run this team just to show you what I was attempting here, and it'll give you an idea of her damage. So the reason why we're using Elise over, Rosalie in this comp is because whenever Maeve activates her ultimate ability to bring in people to do the bonus attacks from her ultimate, it's going to bring in Elise, who has a true damage on her ultimate ability. So that's why we're going this route. So we're just going to do this, put up the defense down. We'll give ourselves attack up. Okay. So here we'll use her ultimate ability. She's going to consume her rage, and then we're going to bring in all of these other people to do their basic attacks. So join attack, join attack. And you saw there my Bachelard got resisted. But you saw that attack from Elise, because her rage bar is full. That means whenever we get off our ultimate ability again, if we can get the joint attack in, she would have done the true damage from your out. So that's why she's just better than Rosalie in this comp, just because her basic ability is pretty nice. So I'm still not going to use her special ability here to show you the stacks, because we don't have enough debuffs yet. So the bummer with this right now is I don't have enough healing output, like without Zitlin in here. She kind of eats up that spot, which is a bit of a bummer. So now we have 6 stacks on here, and we will just use this ultimate ability, and you'll see that the 6 stacks will be put on her right there. But, I mean, the damage itself was not very impressive. I don't think she's supposed to be built for damage. We are looping back around to her ultimate ability here. And I think if I flushed out this team a little bit more, the Elise would go behind her. That way we would have a chance to, right here, like use her ultimate ability, and then Elise would have been able to use the You're Out basic ability to do the bonus damage. But I don't know. So there she has the 6 stacks. It's supposed to be on there for 2 turns. So it will go away this next turn. She'll consume, I think, all of her rage. Because she'll have her ultimate ability. And we'll just, hopefully she has it. Okay, so we'll just see how much damage this does. Right, so he's at 264. So, I mean, just a tiny bit. That's what I'm saying. I think the utility of her is more so in the fact that she can keep stacking on ignites with Arlo. Without Arlo, I don't think she's useful in Earth Rift at all. Oh, actually, there is one other comp that she's probably good in Earth Rift, if you have it. So that is Jocasta, her, Hyunwoo, Barclay, and then Celestial Kane. So this is, a typical cheese comp for either Earth or Water Rift. But it does come with caveats. She has to be A5, and then Jocasta also has to not be booked. But this is a typical comp that you'll see with Aaron, and she will fill that role as well for the people who don't have Aaron. I don't know if it's in the top formation. Yeah, right here. This is the team I'm talking about. So you can just sub her in for Aaron, but she does need to be A5. So other than that, you'll have to use her with Arlo. Okay, so let me show you the typical team that Aaron used to be in, and if people didn't know about it, this was essentially the team. You just saw Aaron there, but if you don't have Aaron, you can replace with Maeve. And this is a decent little speed team for Witch of the Wind. I think it's somewhere around like a minute or something like that. But you utilize Shane here. To use his ultimate, which puts up 4 debuffs. 2 debuffs on each character. And then you just clear the wave with Antinua and then Maeve in this instance. So I guess she's actually a little bit better than Aaron here, because she has AoE abilities where Aaron was just a single target. So here he activates her ultimate ability. And then Antinua goes. My Antinua is not very strong or anything like that. So with a stronger Antinua, you can definitely do this a little bit quicker. But it's kind of just like a one-shot thing here. So, yeah. That's basically it. That team also works in, Queen of Tides. It probably works in Gemini Dragon if you have a strong enough Antinua. So she does replace Aaron there. Overall, guys, good, strong character. Aaron was very good. So if you don't have Aaron, this character is quite good. And if you do have Aaron, it's not a waste, because as you saw here with that guild team, it can be very strong as well. So, if you're into PvE and you like coming up with cool, interesting comps with joint attacks and stuff like that, it's a cool character, but she doesn't really move the needle for me in regards to like Rift of Chaos, which is all I'm super focused on right now, is Rift of Chaos. And that's about it. So, little touch up on Maeve. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll catch you on the next one. See ya.